right, the February 7th, 2024 meeting of the San Mateo County Board of Education will come to order. As is our practice, this meeting will be recorded. I welcome our Youth Commission Liaison, Bethany Zhao, joining our board at the dais. Welcome, Bethany. Excuse me. The board provides remote access for members of the public and welcomes community members joining in person and remotely. The board is following the requirements of Assembly Bill 2449, which enables remote participation by board members only under specific circumstances. We use simultaneous interpretation in Spanish for those attending virtually through the end of public comment. Translation will continue further into the meeting if people are utilizing the channel. Thank you to our interpreter, Teresa Mendeville, for joining us remotely. For meeting attendees wishing to access the Spanish translation channel on Zoom, click on the interpretation button on the menu bar. We ask that all speakers be mindful of the Spanish interpretation and please speak slowly and clearly. I ask board members to speak directly into the microphone and remind all speakers who are wearing masks to please remove their masks when speaking in order to be heard clearly by all attendees. And we would like to welcome County Attorney Niblin, who is joining us remotely for tonight's meeting.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. All right, item 1B is approval of our agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Gerard, second by trustee Lempert. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. All right. Public comment. Item 2 is public comment. Guidelines for public comment are available on the SMCOE website and in board docs, as well as on the table outside the boardroom in both English and Spanish. If there are speakers who require Spanish interpretation, our interpreter, Ms. Mendeville, will interpret following each speaker's comment. At this time, members of the public may provide comment for topics not included on the approved agenda. The County Board of Education does not act upon any matter that has not been agendized except under limited circumstances as permitted by law. It is the policy of the County Board to refer matters raised in this forum to staff for investigation and/or action where appropriate. Superintendent McGee, do we have any comments submitted prior to the meeting?
We do not.
Thank you. Speakers are invited to make live comment and have 3 minutes to speak. The board's executive assistant, Jennifer Perna, will keep the time and advise when the speaker has 30 seconds left. Please keep within the time limit. To make a comment over Zoom, members of the public may use the raised hand feature. Instructions for using this feature are provided as an attachment in the board packet. Once the hand is raised, please wait to be acknowledged by Superintendent McGee. Superintendent McGee, are there any members of the public wishing to make a comment remotely?
I am not seeing any hands raised.
Thank you. Members of the public may also provide live comment in person. Are there any cards submitted?
We have one card for Janice Pellizzari.
Great.
Good evening, Board President
Good evening.
Benini, trustees of the board, Superintendent McGee. I'm just here to say thank you. We went, the court community people went to a PD today at the county office about Respect 24/7. One of the best PDs I've been to in a long time, and I really appreciate that we were a part of that. Great information. I was in a session that kids presented, and they did all the presenting for safe space, and they did an awesome job. I just want to thank you for that. Also, I know people are Superintendent McGee is aware of this. I know we had some Stanford people on our campus telling my staff that we would be moving Gateway. I appreciate the county office because I called Chris right away and Sarah, and they looked into it and are taking care of it so we could squash that little rumor right away. And I'm feeling like we're starting to really dive and work with our management, and I just really, really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Public comment addressing specific agenda items will be heard immediately before the board takes them up. If members of the public wish to speak to a specific agenda item, please use the raise hand feature when the item is announced, and if in person, submit a card in advance of the item. Item 3A is introduction of Susan Ryan, Coordinator, College and Career Technical Education, Educational Services Division. Welcome, Coordinator Ryan.
Good evening, Board President Bonini, members of the board, and Superintendent McGee. I'm Susan Ryan, and I am so privileged to be here as your new coordinator of College and Career Technical Education. I spent 17 years as a high school site administrator and have fallen in love with the power of career technical education with college preparation. So the school that I worked at for the last 14 years, we had every student in a career pathway, all of them A to G courses, making sure they all had internships and capstone classes, and just seeing the kids come alive with the knowledge that they're learning not only the academics, but how to navigate a career and how to build a professional network. And I really look forward to working in collaboration here in San Mateo County to broaden that perspective and to learn alongside the amazing team members I've met so far. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay, item 3B is the introduction of Andrea Burnett, who was recently promoted to Coordinator, P3 Quality Improvement Initiative, Educational Services Division. Coordinator Burnett.
Good evening, Board President Bonini, members of the board, and Superintendent McGee. Happy Black History Month, everyone. I am Andrea Burnett, and I have had the privilege of supporting quality improvement efforts in San Mateo for close to 8 years now. I was recently promoted to Coordinator P3, Quality Improvement Initiatives in Early Learning Support Services, where I will oversee multiple grants focused on closing gaps here in San Mateo. Through partnerships with local, state, and federal policymakers and stakeholders, I plan to ensure equitable approaches to providing quality experiences for San Mateo's earliest learners, prenatal to 3rd grade, and their families. I have over 30 years experience in education, working in private, state, school district, and federal programs. I am that child that would not be quiet. I am that child that could not sit still. I was always a fast learner at the top of my class, but a horrible student. Always pushing back, always asking questions, wanting to go deep and engage with my peers. And as a result, I have fostered a passion for supporting and advocating for the unseen. I will work to uplift the profession and overall quality through advancing equity, inclusion, and developing appropriate spaces for children to learn. For most of my career, I have served children and families from diverse and underserved communities. I was born and raised in Oakland, California, where I currently reside. I received a bachelor's degree from Cal State Hayward, then a full scholarship to Cal State East Bay, where I received a master's degree in early education. I am certified in many of the tools and resources that are used to teach and promote quality in early learning. In addition, I also am certified to train on trauma-informed practices, which also help to promote relations-based approaches that promote healing and resilience. I am also certified as a reliable and proficient assessor for the CLASS ICP, which measures quality in inclusive programs. I have received many certificates in practice-based coaching and strength-based coaching. I am currently completing my certificate in P3 Institute. Outside of my quality improvement work, I have been a part of SMCOE's equity team since the inception. I am the single mother of two. My daughter has a master's degree from USC and is a clinical social worker for Kaiser. My son recently completed his bachelor's degree in Cinema of Arts and Screenwriting from Cal State Northridge. I am very thankful for this opportunity, and I look forward to working with all of you collaboratively.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay. For item 4A, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the January 24th, 2024 regular board meeting as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Cannon, a second by trustee Gerard. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. All right, for item 5A, Superintendent McGee, I believe, is going to provide some information on resolution number 24-7, authorizing a short-term financing loan for the San Carlos School District. Superintendent McGee?
Thank you, President Benini. I'm speaking to this item because Deputy Superintendent Boltema is ill today and out, but he had fully briefed me on this need for approval of a possible short-term loan to the San Carlos School District. San Carlos is one of those districts in our county that flips back and forth between community-funded basic aid and local control funding. That causes cash problems for districts when that happens because they receive their dollars at different time periods in each of those statuses. So if they're in community-funded, they receive their property tax, I think, in November and March. And then if they're LCFF, they receive their funding from the state at a different time. So in this case, the district reached out because they have a charter school in the district. And they did not forward the property tax dollars to them because they believed they were going to be in one of the statuses, but that turned out not to be true. So now they have to go back and forward that property tax to them that wasn't originally budgeted. So they may not need a loan from us, but we want to be prepared in the event that they ultimately decide they do. The loan amount would be less, $5 million or less, and it would be repaid on or before July 31st of 2024. This is kind of the role of the county office, especially in a county where we have multiple districts that flip back and forth and get caught short on cash. So we would ask that the board approve the resolution 24-7.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Trustee Alvaro?
Thank you. And I'm really delighted that we have this reserve set aside to do exactly this, but I'm wondering if there's any discussion, maybe even in CSBA advocacy, about putting an end to this nonsense.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
On these
Mhm.
districts, I mean, there's several districts. I know the district I live in is one of them.
Yeah. So Senator Josh Becker has actually been working with us for over 2 years to try and shape some legislation that provides a hold harmless factor for a district that's flipping so that their cash could come through without the disruption. In fact, I was on the Redwood City Education Committee meeting today with Senator Becker's aide, Joan Dentler, and she mentioned that they're continuing to work on this as a solution through legislation, but I don't think he's bringing it forward this year, but we, in fact, Deputy Superintendent Boltema has met with Senator Becker's staff. And we have consulted with FICMAT on this for their input, and we've actually consulted with the Department of Finance for looking for solutions that could feed legislation to address it.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board? Okay. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 24-7?
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion by trustee Lemper and a second by trustee Gerard. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. All right. For item 6A, Sarah Notch, Executive Director, Center for Access and Engagement, and Janice Pelizzari, SMCOE teacher, will provide information to the board, and the board will discuss and act on a modification to the summer session calendar for the court and community schools. Executive Director Notch and Ms. Pelizzari.
Good evening, Board President Benini, members of the board, Superintendent McGee. We are happy to be in front of you today to present what we think are beneficial recommendations for making changes to our courts and community school summer session programming. I'm here with my esteemed colleague, Janice Pelizzari, who is going to represent some of those benefits. But Clay wanted to give you an overview. We'll talk about our why. It's really important that our why is grounded in what's best for students and staff. So we'll go over that. To provide you with some context, we'll give you a history of the structure of the past summer session schedules. We will present our proposal for changes, and then, of course, leave any time for questions so that you can make your best decision. Ultimately, our goal is to provide a rigorous instructional summer program that balances all of the aspects of the whole child approach. So our academic, social, emotional, mental health, behavioral health for students and staff, to ensure that the way that we have configured our supports and services are maximally supportive and not causing any inadvertent unintended consequences that may be less beneficial for our students and staff. So our goal is making sure that we're doing the right thing for the right reasons for all of our wonderful people. I'm going to let Ms. Pelizzari review our anticipated benefits.
Okay, the benefits of bringing it down for the 3 weeks instead of 4 weeks are increased student and staff wellness, more individualized and targeted credit recovery for students, a reduced need for substitute teaching coverage that results in quality and content of delivery, and it mirrors our partner districts. It also creates more opportunities for staff training during the summer. Students are able to participate in enrichment events with probation. It's a time for them to bond with those guys too, since they're with them for so much, which is the the Summer Olympics. And last year they had to cut down their Summer Olympics because we went back to back, and they didn't have any time to breathe last summer. And it also provides staff additional time to prepare for 24-25. And I'm hoping we can do some robust training with that.
Thank you. So I'll outline what the structure has been previously. So we would traditionally end the school year on a Friday, start right up on the following Monday with our summer session. We would run it for 4 weeks. There would sometimes be a handful of days, which are inclusive of holidays, that are a break depending on where the timing ended up with the calendar that particular year. But pretty much we would go right into the second session of 4 weeks, almost immediately. And then there would be, we were somewhat generous with 2-week break because 1.5 week break. It's sometimes 2, it's sometimes 1.5. It's somewhere between 1.5 and 2 weeks, again, depending on where the dates fall on the calendar. And then we start the new school year. And so there's not a lot of opportunity for some of those aspects that we hope that switching to a 3-week summer session schedule will provide. And we heard and really listened and took to heart a lot of the feedback that we received from students and staff about it being very intensive, which has its benefits, of course, but a really intensive, rigorous schedule that didn't provide for some of the other aspects of wellness for them. So what our proposition is, and it mirrors our partner districts, which is really great, especially if we're talking about Hillcrest, where students may have movement from us to back to their districts in the middle of a summer session, is that we'll end the school year. We'll have a couple of days and start on a Wednesday. So there'll be some downtime, some time to prepare, some time to make some plans. We'll hold the first session for 3 weeks. Then we'll have some more days in between, hold the second session for 3 weeks, and then have a 2.5-week break. So it gives us, rather than the 10 days of break with the previous schedule, we would have 7 days in June and 12 days across July and August. And that would allow us the opportunity to address all of those anticipated benefits that Ms. Palazzari reviewed. So our proposition is that you consider for approval a move to the 2 3-week summer sessions and increased time off to address training and wellness needs. And I will happily take any questions you may have.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Ms. Alvaro.
Thank you. Just one question. So the Gateway schedule for summer school is the same as the Hillcrest schedule for summer school?
Traditionally, it has been. This year, we are making decisions about whether or not, based on when the students are going to be leaving us and returning to district, if we'll have enough students to run a full summer program. One of the requests that's been made is that we look at any seniors who might be credit deficient, if we can boost them over the finish line in summer. So we're looking at Gateway. The request is for all of Corton Community Schools so that we have that flexibility based on our enrollment numbers. For this year, it would most likely primarily affect Hillcrest.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions from the board? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the modification to the summer session calendar for Corton Community Schools?
So moved.
Second?
A motion by trustee Alvaro, a second by trustee Torres. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Was an aye. Any abstentions? Okay, 7-0 and motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, we get to stay with Sarah. For item 6B, Sarah Notch, Executive Director, Center for Access and Engagement, will provide an update on Gateway School programs. Executive Director Notch.
Thank you. Good evening again, Board President Benini, members of the board, and Superintendent McGee. We have been hard at work in our school programs. We had an amazing year last year developing our school strategic plan and just got right down to business. I'm really excited to share with you the work that's been done and how it aligns to our strategic plan goals. As a reminder, these are our strategic plan anchors, again, addressing the whole child. So in academic, behavioral, and social emotional supports. I won't read the slide to you, but I'm happy to leave it up for a minute. You have packets in front of you. I'm doing the teacher thing where I'm scanning to see if anybody needs some more time. We understand that this is a 3-year plan, but we have a sense of urgency. And so I'm hoping that you'll see a lot of the goals and actions already strongly addressed in what I'm about to share. We've made several enhancements to our master schedule. And again, just like the previous presentation, our goal is to be incredibly student-centered and individualized so that we can meet the needs of all of our learners. So we've expanded options to augment our small school design. And we've talked a lot about how we have some challenges, of course, in the scale of the program, but a tremendous amount of benefits as well. And so we've been able to get very creative and think about how we can bring and enhance different aspects of programming to our small school. We've provided access to career and technical education pathways and instruction. We are doing that for Hillcrest as well, and it's going on right now. I've spent several days up there, and I'm so excited about what I'm seeing. So we're going to be bringing that to Gateway in May. We've also focused a lot on credit acceleration and recovery and just credit accrual, college credit accrual in general. So thinking about how can we leverage the opportunities that we have with so few students to be individualized and customized and ensure that we're creating personal learning plans for all of our students. We're going through right now A through G course alignment and really pushing rigorous and relevant instruction. We have a bridge opportunity from high school to college transition that I'll talk about in a minute with the Keys to Success program. And we're really looking at how can we address alternative learning styles in all the ways that they show up with revised programming and the way that we're delivering our content. One of the enhancements is a partnership with CSM, and we brought in addition to CTE, which is not CSM, CTE and VAPA are two independent professionals that are coming in, a team for CTE, and then an artist for VAPA, so visual and performing arts. So we haven't, at least in my institutional history, we haven't had that opportunity in our court and community schools before. So we're really excited to have that. And then our partnership with College of San Mateo has allowed us to bring in several courses that students can accrue college credit. And then the Keys to Success program, I believe, is coming up. So I'll hold on that and tell you about what that's like in just one more slide. To talk a little bit about CTE, what we're doing is we've sort of paused the regular instruction. So we're taking kind of an interim for 15 full days. And doing CTE for 15 full days gives us enough instructional hours to provide a 1 semester credit for our students who are going through CTE. There's a lot of E's: English, entrepreneurship, esports, e-commerce, exploring employment, and expository writing. Those are all the things that we're managing to cover in a span of 15 days. It's been incredible to witness. The students are creating prototypes and writing business plans, and they are going to have an exhibition at the end that showcases all of their prototypes. And I've heard students say, "Oh, I have an idea for a business when I leave here. Or I'm really excited to explore this more in college." So it's really been igniting a lot of passion and connections to the content. And it's very hands-on and project-based learning. So it's at Hillcrest now. It will be coming to Gateway in May, and I'm just so thrilled with how it's going so far. And then we are currently developing our visual and performing arts enrichment schedule. So it's going to really focus on exploring and celebrating identity and creating authentic belonging through the arts with our students. So this will be again at Gateway and Hillcrest. And the instructor is going to be working with our teachers as well to pull in elements of their curriculum, because we want students to see their academics reflected in all of their all of the ways that it shows up, so that it's relevant for them. They can see where it might pop up in their future. Avoid the questions of when will I ever use this again? We'll show them exactly how and when. The schedule is currently under development. We are finalizing it. We think we're probably going to be able to start it in March. So that's exciting. We'll have more on that later. And then here's the Keys to Success course. So it's with CSM. And if you're not familiar with this course, it's an opportunity for students to get information and support in overcoming some of the most common barriers and even questions and wonderings that students have about college. So it helps them with preparation and almost orientation in a way. So that's happening. And then we're also doing 2 curriculum adoptions this year. So we'll be focusing on science and social science. That is ongoing right now. And we'll be, as Ms. Pellizzari, she left. As Ms. Pellizzari stated in the last presentation, we really want to focus on having time for training. 2 curriculum adoptions is an exciting but big venture to take on, and we want to make sure that we're able to prepare our teachers and provide them with the tools that they'll need to be successful in tackling too. And then we've also been focusing a lot in our professional development on improvement and implementation science and really looking at data in big and small ways and going through change actions and testing things and figuring out what works and learning from what doesn't. So it's been a different approach to our professional development time with teachers. So that's been exciting. I'm a data nerd, so I've been loving it. And it's really nice to be able to be in a room with all of our staff and have them point out their noticings and their wonderings and make predictions about what if we did this and what if we changed this and what might happen from that. So I've loved that, that focus this year. And then we've also had a very strong culture and climate focus. So we brought in, we've been doing a lot of training around positive behavior intervention and supports, or PBIS. We have a PBIS committee, and we've implemented a new system called 5-Star. It's a way for students to accrue points for demonstrating the desirable behaviors. And so we're really working on skills building and explicit teaching, but a tremendous amount of positive reinforcement to build that behavioral momentum. In addition to redemption events that students can cash in their points for the different events and incentives, we're also doing some community-wide culture building events for all students. And then having 5-Star has allowed us to collect data in a different way, in a new way that we can look at how students are doing and then pinpoint the ones who need some more support by looking at the rate of points accrual and redemption. And then we're able to check in with them on kind of a mini case manager basis and get to know what are their barriers, what are their goals, how can we help them, and really kind of drive in that individualized support with this tool. And then finally, we are in year 2 of our racial equity training with Dr. Lori Watson. And I've heard so much positive feedback from the staff about the perspective that they've gained through working with Dr. Watson. So we're incredibly grateful to be able to participate in that. And then we've also had some facility improvements. So our facilities team put down some sod, which may sound like a small thing, but it made a big difference. I know it was a big job for them, but just seeing their school in a different way, being able to play in the grass. We've heard lots of positive comments from students about how much they loved it, which I don't think we were anticipating hearing. So that's been really, really great. And so we want them to feel the love on the inside of the classrooms and see the love on the outside of the classrooms too. So that is what I wanted to bring to you today, and would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Torres.
Yes, thank you. Really excited to see everything. Has the CTE instruction already happened?
It's happening at Hillcrest right now. So we'll hit day 15 next Thursday. For Gateway, it will be the last 15 days in May.
Okay, I would love to be able to see like the product of all that work. So if we're able to go, I'll definitely make the time.
Be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Trustee Gerard.
I was wondering, how much of this do the teachers or when you're talking staff, are you talking teachers at Hillcrest? And are the Gateway teachers included in that as well? When you're planning and talking about all of these things that are coming up?
Oh, yes. So this was a Gateway specific update, but a lot of this is also happening at Hillcrest, and it's all been driven from our strategic plan, which the staff was involved in, very heavily involved in developing. And so it's been a collaborative venture of identifying goals that we wanted to accomplish this year, and then this is part of making it real.
Okay, so when you put it all together, then you had already talked to the staff. Had anyone talk to students and students' families and see what their needs were, what their feelings were?
Yes,
all?
they've been doing, they did with specifically with the PBIS work, the 5-star, a lot of the redemption events and incentives, that was all student driven. So talking to them about what it was that would be motivating, a lot of time talking with students about kind of the expectation setting on campus and what it means to them and what they want to see. So they've been involved in developing that. We have empathy interviews coming up, I believe it's next week, to dig a little deeper on how students are feeling about some of the enhancements and what else they want to see.
And this is Hillcrest.
And this is, no, this is the Gateway is having the empathy. I think it's Gateway next week.
Okay.
I think it's next week. Yes, it's really important for us to include student voice. Everything we do
I
is for
agree.
them. So the more that we can involve them and hear, you know, we all have our impressions of what we think would be beneficial, but it's essential to run that by the students and have them be part of the collective that's building these enhancements as well. So that's a strong value.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Comments? I actually have a few. First, I wanted to express my appreciation for tying it in with the strategic plan. I've been really interested to know like how we can, have more information as to things that come, on our agenda, like
Yeah.
where is this in the strategic plan so we can know. So I really do appreciate that. So thank you. And then I'm just as a first kind of general question about this work and all of it. Is it aligned or tied into or anywhere related to the work that is ongoing with the National Equity Project? Is that what the acronym is? Sorry. And the work, to work forward with Gateway. Is it all related, or is this just we're doing this and then that's happening?
Yes. I feel like I can say, yes, it is related because we started, though we're working with the National Equity Project, NEP right now. We started the kind of Gateway Learning Series last year and heard a lot from students, from staff, from partners, from districts about what could be. And so that plus the work that we did in the school strategic planning, I think really informed where we're going this year. One of the things that we've talked about in the Gateway Design Series is that we know that there is a process going on to help with recommendations for even more enhancements to Gateway. And at the same time, we have students now. So rather than waiting until that process completes before we do anything new or innovative or different or exciting for our students, we really wanted to get going on the strategic plan, informed also by that Gateway Learning Series. So it's been very aligned with the discussions that have been happening, and the same presentation was given to the Gateway Design participants 2 meetings ago, which also helps give them a different baseline for where we are and where we could go. So it's this tightrope walk a little bit, right? Of we know that there's more things coming and we don't want to do anything that might be in conflict with what is to come, and feel very confident that driving this from the school strategic plan and the Gateway Learning Series, that this is going to fit in beautifully, and we'll just see where we go from here.
Okay, great. Thank you. Another question, I was just curious, I think it's slide 4, but where you went through the spring schedule enhancements and the classes at CSM, is that related to what happens like with middle college? Is there any integration with students who are participatory in that, or is it all on our campus? Like, can you explain a little bit more about the logistics?
Sure. It's
sounds
on our
exciting.
campus. It's in partnership with Project Change. And so we have Project Change staff, and then our staff are also supporting that. And depending on where students are in their credit accrual recovery journey and what their interest is in participating, it's another pathway that's open to them for enhancing their credit.
Okay, so it's
accrual,
Project
yeah.
Change. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay, another question I had was in regards to the CTE sort of break I would say.
Uh-huh.
I'm just curious, like how that impacts things like credit recovery and other ongoing,
Mhm.
like basic skill, basic classes.
Mhm.
And whether the gateway teachers or all the teachers are sort of shifting gears and they're delivering that, or is that just something else that's happening during that time in terms of instruction? Is it just an add-on and then there's still other stuff going on to some extent with the
In
teachers?
order to get enough instructional minutes to be able to give credit for a semester, we need kind of the bell-to-bell time for that. In planning this, Associate Superintendent Schaus met with several of the teachers who gave lots of input about the configuration and the scheduling. We looked at all of the different opportunities that we have with additional instructional minutes over and above what's required that we're able to provide. And so we feel confident in the pause for the 15 days, and we're able to plan ahead for that, and then know that we have some time to resume the credit recovery and some of the other supports that were going on for students. But we really do need that full bell-to-bell time in order to meet the requirements for an A through G semester's worth of credit.
All right. And my last question has to do with the adoptions. Those, since I've not been part of approving that, when does that come to the board?
We are in the beginning of the process right now. And then our goal is to bring it to the board. I believe we were targeting sometime in May, which would give us time to select the materials that we're going to pilot, collect some data, look at student outcomes, make our recommendation driven from that data to present to you, and then still have time to do all of the logistical pieces of ordering and shipping and training. So that's our goal.
Okay. So for this, it's basically the process in the spring, and then it would hopefully go into effect for the next school year.
Yes.
Got it.
So they'd get access to it during the pilot so that, there would be some of it, but it would be to really look at an apples to apples comparison of which curriculum is the best match for our population.
Thank you for answering my many questions.
Of course.
Are there any more questions from the board? I'm going to ask if there's any public comment, and note as I do that I forgot to ask for it in the last item. And I know if County Attorney Niblin was sitting right there, he would have been like, but we passed over it. So anyway, is there any public comment for this item?
Not seeing any.
Okay, great. And then since Sarah Notches was up for the last item, can we call for public comment for the last item so we close that loop? just
Yeah,
in
I
case?
think you could ascertain whether or not there's any public comment. And if you thought it was appropriate after they're receiving public comment, you could take a new vote if there was any public comment.
Okay, thank you. So no, it doesn't seem like there's any public comment for the current item. And then on the summer session calendar, is there any public comment for that? Any hands raised or any cards or anything?
No hands.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you. There's no action to take on that item. Okay. Item 7A is superintendent comments. Superintendent McGee, do you have any comments to share?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I'll just begin with addressing the most recent storms that the county has endured, again, impacting schools and kids being able to attend school. We had a number of schools throughout the county that were closed for various reasons, largely access to power and not having the resources on the campus that they needed. Some schools were able to open without power and have worked on processes to be able to run school without power. Westmore High School, however, has been out of session all week long, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, due to lack of power on the campus. The other hard-hit area is always La Honda Pescadero. While the all three schools were open with no power. La Honda, when they have no power, they have no water and they have no bathrooms. So they have to ship in porta potties in order to run school. And Superintendent Wooliver does that every single time they lose power. Luckily, they have a new generator that they have not been able to connect because of a lack of getting an electrician out there to do the work. But that is getting taken care of next week. So they're putting in their own backup systems. I did work with county officials trying to elevate the priority for La Honda Pescadero, but because all of Half Moon Bay was down for power, I think, I don't know, Miss Alvaro, if you had power or not, but I didn't have power for 3 days in my house. So because the lines were down in Half Moon Bay, they had to get Half Moon Bay up first because those lines connect to Pescadero. So it took longer, and statewide, there was large impact due to the storms for schools and kids being able to attend. And I just want to raise the point that the weather and the climate continues to impact the education of our kids. And so elevating solutions to the climate crisis becomes very, very important. I did already inform the board about the recognition that the communications team received for 3 of their publications from CalSPRA, the California School Public Relations Association, but I just wanted to make a point to Executive Director Patricia Love. Congratulations to your team for your exceptional work. That is not only always exceptional, but very consistent and cohesive. So we appreciate your leadership and all that you provide for the county office and for the county in your communications efforts. And that team will go receive their awards in a few weeks, I think, in Sacramento. So congratulations. A couple of events that are on the horizon. The County Office of Education is partnering with Thrive Alliance, the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, and Stanford Haas Center for Public Service next Thursday at the Burlingame Community Center with an event focused on elevating racial justice in San Mateo County. The event will be from 8:30 to 2:30, and we are bringing together community partners and school districts for them to highlight actions they've taken specifically to elevate racial justice inside their organizations. So we hope that it's a great learning opportunity for everyone and a great networking opportunity. That is open, for your attendance if you're interested. I'm sure, I think the event is well advertised and it's on our calendar. So the links to register are there, but Jennifer can help you if you're interested in exploring that more. And then last spring, I talked about us developing our labor management team and how we went to San Diego last June for a week-long conference. And we have, as a labor management, we call it LMI, Labor Management Institute for San Mateo County Office of Ed, involves management and all the leaders of our bargaining units. So we've continued to meet since last June. And one of the goals we set was to bring a regional convening here to the county office. And so that will be happening for the Bay Area. We are hosting the Regional Labor Management Institute on February 26th. That's a Monday. And that will be an all-day event here at the County Office of Ed. So we're looking forward to that. And our team will be helping doing the welcome and providing different supports during the day, but we're also partnering with our district partner, Jefferson Elementary, who also have been doing a lot of work in there with their labor management team, and they'll be highlighting their progress as a best practice as part of the conference. And then just today, I received and accepted an invitation from the CSBA President-elect Albert Gonzalez to serve on the CSBA Superintendent's Advisory Council. It's chaired by President-elect Gonzalez, and it assembles superintendents and board members 3 times a year in Sacramento and through virtual meetings to address policy issues and urgent matters facing public education. So given all that's going on here with CCBE and representation of the county boards, I thought it would be a good avenue to explore and understand that in more detail. And finally, happy birthday to Deputy Superintendent Marco Chavez. We celebrated him today, but his birthday will be on February 20th. And the best possible birthday present that he could have is a 49er win on Sunday. So, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you. For item 8A, the board will move to closed session to hear Interdistrict Attendance Appeal 24-1, IAA 24-1, filed on behalf of a student currently residing in the Franklin McKinley School District, but requesting to attend school in the Belmont Redwood Shores School District. Before we begin, are there any comments from the public? Okay, seeing none. Upon conclusion of the IAA, the board will return to open session to report out on any actions taken in closed session. And you guys consider
I started it over, I think. Is that okay?
Everything there. I agree with you.
There we go.
Everything.
Okay.
There's Mr. Niblin. Okay, so I think we're ready, sorry. So we're back into closed session. I'm sorry, in open session from closed session. And for item 9A, the board will report on action taken in closed session. For interdistrict attendance appeal 24-1, the board voted to approve by a vote of 7 in favor, none opposed. All right, on to item 10A. The board now has the opportunity to cast its ballot for the California School Boards Association Delegate Assembly. Is there any discussion or are there any questions? Seeing none, are there any comments from the public?
No comments.
No comments. Is there a motion?
I do have a question.
Oh, Trustee Gerard,
Mr.
you're.
Could you turn your microphone on? Sorry, there we go.
We're casting a ballot for my seat?
No, it's for those who are up this year. I believe your term.
It
is
would be your
through-
seat.
Yes, so it is Sophia Lane, Patricia Murray, and myself.
Okay.
And there are only there are 3 seats and 3 incumbents.
And there are 3 people.
Mm.
Right. Okay. I would like to make a motion that we approve all 3 people running for the CSBA Delegate Assembly.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by trustee Gerard, and second by trustee Torres. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, for item 10B, is there a motion to approve resolution number 24-8, implementing board policy 9250 to compensate Susan Alvaro for her absence from the January 24th, 2024 board meeting due to illness?
So move.
Second.
A motion by trustee Gerard, a second by trustee Cannon? I didn't hear.
I think it was Lumpert.
What was it?
Oh, it was
Oh,
Jim?
Okay. All right. Sorry, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did we take public comment on this matter? And if we did, I apologize. I might have missed it. Or request public comment?
It's not in my script, so no, we did not.
My bad. Thanks. We'll get in the script
Right.
next time.
Is there any public comment?
We don't normally do public comment on this item, but we'll add it back in. We'll add it in.
Okay,
It's never been there, but
okay.
we'll add it in.
Is there any?
There is none.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
I'll
motion passed.
abstain.
Oh, 1 abstention, excuse me. Any abstentions? Ms. Alvaro? Okay, motion passes 6 in favor, none opposed, 1 abstention. Okay. For item 10C, board members will comment. Ms. Alvaro, would you like to start us off?
Okay, thank you. It's good to be back. I sorry to miss the last one, but you didn't want me here any more than I wanted to be here. I want to say happy birthday to Marco Chavez, who is not in the room at this moment, but he will hear the comment anyway. And the storm has been, as Superintendent McGee reported, lots and lots of people without power. We were okay. And I got a lot of calls from friends who live on the coast side because they know that I live a block from the library. So I just wanted to say the two agencies really rose to the occasion. Coastside Hope up in Ogonata and Half Moon Bay Library opened up for community members to come in. They had heat because a lot of people didn't have any heat. They had, of course, electricity for charging. They had Wi-Fi. Mariners Church also did. I needed to mention them too in Half Moon Bay. They had snacks and hot coffee and just opened to the community and said, we know there's problems, come on in. And it's just every single time I'm just so impressed by how the community rises to the occasion of taking care of each other. And I just want to mention that. And then I just want to wish everybody a happy Lunar New Year. Many of my ELL students are Asian, and they assure me that the Year of the Dragon will be a better year for everybody. And so I'm holding them to that because they promised me it will be a better year. In fact, one of my students said she's going to have a New Year's Super Bowl party at her house because half the family wants to watch the Super Bowl, and the other half the family wants to have a traditional New Year dinner. So they're going to do it. They're going to combine it and do it all together. So happy Year of the Dragon, everybody.
Thank you. Trustee Limper.
I was just going to introduce my daughter, but I think she took over your office and is ready to roll. No, just it was, my other two daughters were at my swearing in many years ago. Julie, my first swearing in, Julianne couldn't be there because she wasn't here. She wasn't born yet. So it's nice to have her at a meeting. That's all I have, I think.
That is nice.
All right, Trustee Cannon.
No report tonight, thank you.
Trustee Camacho.
A couple of thank yous, a lot of them to the county office for hosting so many events for county school board members. So Capital Advisory's Budget Outlook, thank you for that one. Real big one was the legislative brunch on Saturday, which was a great panel and organized by or co-organized by Trustee Bonini. So thank you for that so much. It was really well done. Special shout out to Executive Director Love and Zach for setting us up last minute with access for board members that couldn't make it for whatever reasons those were. So thank you for that last minute adjustment too. And I think that's all I'm gonna do for today. Yes, thank you.
Okay, Trustee Gerard.
Thank you. I also, even though Marco isn't here, want to wish him a happy birthday on the 20th. And I hope he enjoys his day. I did attend another transition meeting since my last report, and I won't go into all of that. I have another one on this Friday, and we are supposed to be actually setting up the speakers for the workshop. And I do want to reiterate that the workshop is for all board members who would like to attend. So it's really, really important. I've been trying really hard to get the word out so that we can make this a success. It's important that we do. And the same thing for our conference in September. I think it's extremely important that that's a successful conference because it gives us hopefully some ammunition to try and talk CSBA into letting us have one in 2025 as well. So we'll see what happens with that. I also attended virtually the Juvenile Justice Committee meeting, which was actually very interesting. And Capital Advisors, Ms. Alvaro and I did it virtually through Zoom because the Capital Advisors meeting interfered with my transition CSBA meeting. So I couldn't be two places at once or on two Zooms at once. So we did it a different day. And I also did have, which I promised I would do, have a meeting with Mr. Neblin last Friday, and we discussed the letter that he's putting together, and I really received good information from some of you as well, and had gathered information from other board members throughout the state. And we're putting that all in what I hope will be a very effective letter. And I also attended the legislative brunch, which President Benini and Board Trustee Carrie Dubois did a fabulous job putting together. And it was really very informative. It was excellent. I really enjoyed it. I wish more board members had been here, but I think the threat of weather had a lot to do with that. So hopefully next year there won't be a major horrible storm coming in, and I really sympathize with you, Superintendent McGee, because I have not had or did not have electricity for 3.5 days either. So we finally just got ours back today, and it was like, I can't go to a board meeting looking like this. I got to have some electricity for a blow dryer or something. So I sympathize. Thank you.
Ms. Gerard, just you told us about the conference in September. It says it's the Thursday through Saturday in September. Did they move it? Because usually it's Friday through Sunday.
No, it's going to be, I believe, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Initially Thursday, we were going to do something special. I don't know if that's still going to happen. It was like last year, they had that special
Okay.
presentation on Thursday night, and it was also executive board meetings, but of course we won't be having that now. So I'll have more information, I think, if not this meeting, the next meeting. That's one thing they did do that I should probably mention. Instead of having the entire transition group meet for every meetings, they have broken us off into sections. And those sections will be meeting and then all coming together to share information. And we were given choices, and I'm hoping I get my choice, which was the September conference.
All right. Trustee Torres.
Thank you. Happy Black History Month. I wanted to say thank you to Diane Chow and Robert Chua for their invitation to the Chinese American Voters Education Committee. They had a Lunar New Year reception to honor Assemblymember Phil Ting and other community leaders, and it was a really beautiful event. And I also want to commend the Santa Clara County Board of Education for passing their Gaza ceasefire resolution. And that is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I have just a couple of things. I was able to attend the presentation and day at the courts with Superintendent McGee for Fred Korematsu Day, which the county attorney's office and many other organizations came together on. And it was, I was only there for the morning when they did the reenactment, but it was just a really, really nice experience to be there. Oxford Day Academy was one of the schools in attendance, so that was nice, and 2 other schools. There were people from the county office in the presentation. So is it Jay Takahashi, who we met months ago, I think when he was promoted, and Superintendent McGee shared the story of his family in San Mateo, and he actually was portraying the role of Fred Korematsu in the reenactment, which was really cool. And Lisa Cho also was participatory, and some other people that, from the county attorney's office. It was really nice. And I didn't get to say, as I said, for the conversations with the students after lunch, but I'm sure that it was wonderful. I wanted to also say thank you for, again, for last weekend, for the legislative brunch. Thank you to Patricia Love for being there. Thank you to Jared Prolo. Thank you to Zach. And then we have, of course, the event coming up this weekend. And I know Superintendent McGee is planning on being there. That's the Transition to Independence Fair, and a number of staff members who will be here. So my absolute appreciation for that. I will unfortunately not be in attendance this weekend, but I do encourage anybody who's free, even for any amount of time, to join, because I think it's going to be fantastic. It's supposed to be sunny, so hopefully the band will be playing out on the back patio and not in the stairwell. So that, and then congratulations to the communications team, Patricia and your team. That's really impressive. Obviously we see all the communications, and that's very well deserved. And then I guess just finally, I've been to probably every event that Beverly mentioned, so I won't go through them all. But tomorrow I have the opportunity to visit the San Mateo Foster City School District is doing a first grade teachers summit on the work they're doing around science of reading. And so I will be attending, and then one of the Decoding Dyslexia California representatives for the region is also going to be attending. So we're going to attend together, and they're going to do a site visit so we can see what they're doing in the district. They've invited districts and people from all over. And then they're going to do a panel after lunch and some debriefing. So I'm super excited for that. So it looks like that topic is very important. Oh, and one last thing. I did want to acknowledge that I think it's the Center for Access and Engagement, but it might be the SELPA, is also doing a screening of the right to read, which I noticed in the list of events that we get. So there's a lot going on around that. So thank you so much. So item 11 is adjournment. The next regular meeting will take place on Wednesday, February 21st at 7 p.m. And this meeting is adjourned.
Good night, everyone.